Hello guys, it's me Szayelaporro, and in this video we will talk about one of the most amazing espada, the espada who was just a human and then became a soul and then a holo and then a vassal lord and then one of the characters of hell, one of the characters who sacrificed power and rank in the sake to be the perfect being. We're talking here about Szayelaporro. Perhaps when we want to talk about strength, we always turn to well-known characters such as Stark or Baragan, or when we want to talk about a character that's good in terms of writing and its narrative depth, the male on the list is always Illiquora, of course without mentioning his power in his most famous fight with Ichiro Kurosaki. But it seems that Kubo has a special crush on one of the espada other than the ones I have just mentioned. Someone might say, it's Grimijo? No, it's not him. It's Szayelaporro. Ironically, I say that Kubo is a fan of the 8th espada, and we all saw how Zylo died. One of the ugliest endings that any reader can imagine, especially in Bleach. Of course, Kubo may not really like Zylo, but the admiration here is how Kubo gave him great attention and involved him in many events more than any other espada. In fact, it can be said that Szayelaporro is the only espada among all the espada we have his life story when he was a human. The story of his life as a human being is told in the novel of Spirits Are Forever With You, and the story in a nutshell is as follows. At some point in the human world, Zylo was working as a scientist in one of the countries, while his brother was working as a general for the same country. However, Zylo was doing something very heinous, which was that he was asking his brother, the general, to send him the prisoners he was capturing in the war, and Zylo was doing the most horrific experiments on their bodies until they died. Of course, when Zylo was killing the prisoners, he didn't know that they would become souls, and those souls were angry and resentful at being killed by Szayelaporro, so they remained there until they were formed in the form of a holo. And the holo waited until Zylo and his brother met in the laboratory, and there he killed them together, and Zylo and his brother turned directly into souls. The strange thing here is that Szayelaporro was never sad about his death. On the contrary, he laughed a crazy laugh while watching his dead body and looking at the holo that killed them, and he said, "This is exactly what I wanted." Rather, the novel describes that Zylo directly pounced on his brother's neck and bit him and ate him, and this movement is the same that we saw from Zylo when he ate one of his followers. Zylo's personality was clear from the beginning. In order to reach perfection, there is no morality, to the point that the holo who killed him tried to escape when he saw that scene in front of his eyes. But after eating his brother, Zylo went to eat the holo who killed them and then made his way to the world of Wikomondo to seek for perfection. So that Szayelaporro became Menos Grandi, and after eating countless holos, he became a vassal lord. And so, according to the novel, Szayelaporro was a vassal lord in the past, and it was known that he was a calm vassal lord who created several artificial adyukas, and he didn't want to engage in battles because as soon as he fights, he loses control of his strength and kills his enemies, while he wants them alive for the sake of his experiments. And this situation continued until he worked under Baragan's rule, and after Aizen Sosuke came, the latter gave him the number 0, which is given to the strongest espada. However, Zylo in fact did not want this, because his goal, as we said, was not towards strength, but rather the desire to be a perfect being. Zylo saw that this would only be achieved through Gabriel ability, and by doing countless experiments, he reached the fact that he could not do this ability in his human form, which is vassal lord. So he decided to devolve to the class of adyukas and then try to evolve again. And in order to do that, he divided himself into two halves, as a person himself, and the second person was his brother who ate him in the past. And with this decision, the rank of the Zero Espada was removed from him and he returned as a former Espada. But he continued to do experiments until he mastered Gabriel technique, which enabled him to return to the Espada, but this time as the 8th Espada. So we can notice that Zylo's pursuit and obsession with perfection made him give up several things. When he was human, he gave up his humanity, and when he became a soul, he abandoned his brother and ate him, and even when he became a vassal lord in Espada Zero, he abandoned them both. All of this is done in order to achieve his goal, which is to become a perfect being, through Gabriel technique. Of course, you all know that technique. It is what made him reborn after Mayuri's Bankai ate him, so he was resurrected inside the body of Nemo. And this was the origin of the dispute between him and Mayuri. On the other hand, the human story of Szayelaporro illustrates a concept. I see that a lot of fans still make mistakes in it. Some believe that Szayelaporro was thrown into hell because of his character as a holo, or because of the actions he did when he was a holo. And this is wrong. Xylo was sent to the hell because of the actions he was doing as a human being. His torture of prisoners and doing all those inhuman experiments is what made him go to hell after he was killed by Mayuri. Because Mayuri is first and foremost a Shinigami, and he killed him with the Zanpakuto, and the Zanpakuto purifies the holos from all the actions they were doing in their lives as a holos. In other words, if we assume that Szayelaporro was a peaceful man in human life, and this crazy sadistic personality did not emerge until he became a holo, then surely Szayelaporro wouldn't have gone to hell. That's why espadas like Noichura or Stark, we can't judge their life as a holo, so we can say whether they will go to hell or not. But what we have as a fact now is that Xylo is in hell. Even before that, Xylo had an honorary appearance in the final arc, when he appeared in Mayuri's imagination while he was fighting Pernida. And this shows, as I said, Koba's admiration for this character, and how he is, even in the last arc, he made him appear and drew this sketch because of his return. Of course, the big surprise was the appearance of Xylo in the last one-shot. I'm frankly amazed at this character, because as I told you, when he was a human and died, he became a soul, and he was happy about this and considered it a good thing for his development, and he became a holo. Then he reached the highest rank, which is the Vassal Lord, and was killed by Mayuri at the end. And he was sent to hell. And he also considered that one of the good things. He said that hell is great because of the fact that the hollow pit become outside his body. That's why he said that Xylo is one of the most interesting characters in Bleach, as he lived several life cycles in different places. So guys, tell me what you think about this character, and see you in my next video.